This was a very insightful live. Listen with your ears. Don't prejudge. Just listen. Chef Carmen does an interview with her friend Darnell, and she explains when her and Rico met, what he was up to, and also walks us through some things that led up to what just recently happened. Now, listen to what she has to say and let me know what your thoughts are. I think Darnell asked a very interesting question at the end of this live. You don't want to miss that.
Again, to say for the people who say he gets a check or whatever, he was working when she met him. Now I may not have the restaurant right, but I know
Well,
I believe Chef was
no,
saying
I could hold on. I'll tell you a story. It
okay.
was it was actually Chili's,
It
and
was
I'm
Chili's. Okay.
Rico, and I was a kitchen manager at Chili's, and I transferred to another Chili's, and he followed me there because the attachment, and and he was like a little brother to me. He was so humble, and just a angelic spirit, and he kind of attached himself to me, and I think after I left Chili's, we were there for a while. He followed me to Longhorn, and so
Mm-hmm.
I started, and he would come over some days after work, or we would hang out. And then on the weekends, I started noticing on the weeks that he got paid, he didn't have anywhere to go. So I'd be like, Rico, why aren't you home? Why aren't you relaxing? We work hard all week. You need to get some rest. And this went on for maybe 8 months. And before I
So real
realized that
quick,
something was
when you
actually
say he
wrong.
didn't have anywhere to go, you notice he didn't have housing, like you for something, and you notice he wasn't.
I'm gonna tell you the story. I can't. Um. Anyway, I noticed he didn't have any. Like when we got off work, I would drop him off at the bus station, and he lived
Mm-hmm,
up in Decatur. I lived in Marietta, so he would go home during
mm-hmm,
the week, or I thought he went home. But I noticed that when he was off on the weekends, uh, that he didn't have anywhere to go. He would go to the movie, buy a movie ticket, and sit in the movies all day. Because I said, "What you been?" "No, I just been in the movie all day. I like looking at movies." So this one, I'm like, "This is weird.
mm-hmm.
Um, this is not adding up." So what I found out, and he had to break down and tell me, I guess, because there was no way out, and I was pressuring him for answers. And finally, I said, Rico, why aren't you going home? Do you want to come over my house? Why aren't you going home? So my ex-husband, Ashley, everybody know Rico. Okay. So he finally told me he wasn't going home because um every 2 weeks he get paid, he'd be broke the next day. His sister-in-law was taking all his
Mm.
money, and treated him like crap, and would put him out when he didn't have any money. So when he told me that, my heart broke. And what I did, when he told me that, I put Rico up in this place. I can't even think of the name of it. But I got him a room. It was a one room, Lorraine Lodge. And James White Boy can come right. He can tell y'all. Anyway, I put him in this lodge, and he
Mm-hmm.
stayed in the Lorraine Lodge for maybe 2 or 3 years. And then I'm like, man, it don't make no sense for you to stay at the lodge. Why don't you just come and stay with me?
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of been joined at the hip, ever since. So that's how our relationship started, our friendship.
Wow. Okay, so I just want to say Dr. Carey, and I call her Dr. Carey because I know that it's about to happen, and I haven't talked to Carey to see her status or whatever, but she's a nurse practitioner the last I checked, and I just know she's going to be a doctor. So I already call her Dr. Carey in advance. So Dr. Carey says if you're taking Ozempic, you still have to eat, or you can become hydroglycemic. Hopefully, I'm saying that. Hypoglycemic. Hopefully, I'm saying that correctly. Also, Ozempic is for diabetics, not weight loss. You get some weight loss, but not as much as Wegovy. So, according to Dr. Carey, when you're taking Ozempic, you have to eat. Now, I don't know what hypoglycemic is. I'm about to look it up. Hypoglycemic. Let's see. Why is it? Oh, so hypoglycemia is also known as low blood sugar, which occurs when the blood glucose levels drop below a healthy level. So basically, if you're not eating, your blood level will drop really low, which I'm sure. Oh, baby, y'all already knew what it was. All right. I mean, I didn't know what it was. All right, I didn't know at all. So, low blood sugar. Yes, y'all are right. And
Usually I pay cash on the vehicles, and how Rico ended up with my cars is like, um, it started off with a couple of vans, maybe three vans. I had vans because that's all I used to travel and move my employees around. So if I get another car, I would give him the van. And then if I get another car, I give him that car. If I get another car, I give him that car. And I paid insurance. And make sure you had gas and just make sure that he was okay because like I say, he was my friend. He was my brother. He had my back for so many years. I had his, and we just grew close. In the friendship, it's like brothers and sisters. You may see me and Rico arguing like cats and dogs, and the next minute, we going to get something to eat, or he got my car. I'm finna go get something to eat. So for something like this to happen, it's definitely hard. And another thing, what I was going to say about Nicole, um, I was questioning, even Take questioning me a couple of weeks ago. Darnell don't question me. Why is she over there? Why is she around Rico? And I'm like, he grown, he can do what he wants. And I even told Nicole, because I thought her and Rico were friends, and I thought that she was bringing him out because he started doing karaoke. And I actually was the one that was encouraging him to go live and share his journey with Ozempic. But Nicole decided that whatever decision that she made, I think she started telling Rico stuff. And that's why we're at today, because apparently they had already plotted. He had a phone, he had this, he had that. He was not answering phone calls. And he was disappearing. And he was sneaking off, talking on the phone or stepping outside, and he was having really bad attitude problems as of late. And that's before I left coming to Atlanta. And he's my brother, so he got attitudes and cutting up. I'm like, shit, I don't give a fuck. I mean, do what you do, Rico, because I didn't take it personal, but it was very noticeable, that there was some kind of attitude change. Because he would do little things that cause an argument, and things would explode sometimes they wouldn't, but that's just something I figure. I'm like, we've been doing this for years. I'm like, Rico, you gonna calm down, you're gonna be nice today, you're gonna leave me the hell alone, and we laugh about it. But it was definitely a change now that I look back on it, and I wish I would have handled things differently. If I would have known what I know today, I wouldn't have responded to some of the things the way that I did.
oh, Chef, that's a big statement you made. Um, that's growth right there because
Somebody said, they're talking to me. You seem to lost everyone around you. You know what? If they snakes, I don't want them around me. Whether it's Rico or whoever it was. Once a person show you who they are, that's who they are. So if I'm losing, if they falling out like flies, they just gonna have to fall out like flies.
it's been said that maybe he has a job. I don't know. I don't think the job was said what the job is. I don't know. Well, Chef, I'll ask you. This was somebody who I guess you at some point considered a friend. What is this person's like? Do they work? Are they an
But
upstanding citizen? Are they like?
no, she's not working. She have a very extensive criminal record. She got some things going on, and I really don't. Yeah, I really don't care. I just know that what she's doing, she's hurting someone that was safe. So when they say free Rico, Rico was safe. It's like I was saying, if Tay and I went on vacation, Rico was home for weeks, 3 weeks. He a grown man. We went on our honeymoon. We went on cruises. We went here. We went there. Um, we weren't in Houston a lot. The for at least a year and a half. and he was well. He was good. He was good. There were no problems. So all of a sudden he don't have food or he can't take care of himself. That's the craziest thing that I've ever heard.
Hmm. So it was mentioned that, okay, oh, the storm was the last thing that happened. The storm was the icing on the cake of sorts. Now, I wasn't in Houston for the storm. I do know, and I can speak for myself. When I heard there was a storm, I did personally message Rico. I said, "Hey, Rico, I just heard there was a storm. Are you okay?" And he said, "Yes, I'm okay. I just don't have any lights." Now, I can't supply no lights. I can't connect to Houston Power or whatever the power they use. I can't do nothing with the lights. I wanted to know, was he okay? Other than that, I mean, if he needed a candle, if he needed whatever he needed. There are also other people that checked on him as well. So this whole scenario about the storm was the last thing. I really don't get it. I guess I'll bring in the tires for part of that. Listen, first of all, it's kind of clear that from Chef's account, from him working at Chili's and going to the whatever, she has no knowledge of him ever receiving a check. So he's worked since she met him. I think he's gotten spoiled since she's been
Well,
with him.
actually, and Tay, I didn't know that Tay had put the Uber and the DoorDash apps on his phone where he can go out and start making some extra money. I didn't know that, but maybe before I left for Atlanta, um, the conversation came up, and I told him he didn't have to work. Just chill if you don't want no extra money. I said things are a little tight right now because my Facebook money is cut off, and we got money in savings. We not trying to touch that, and we want to keep elevating. I said things are a little tight. If you don't want to DoorDash or Uber Eats or do nothing like that, that's a conversation that we had. I didn't know that when I left. Tay had actually suggested that, and that's actually a really good suggestion because he had my Jeep, he had my car to get the tires, or Tay had offered to get tires. He had my car to get gas. So I maybe I did spoil him. He was my little brother.
Wait, so this is that's kind of a big statement. Hold on one sec. We're live. This is not the replay. So wait, this is a big statement. So you're saying that at some point Tay, told us that she said, "Hey Rico, I can put this stuff on your phone, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or whatever." I believe I heard her saying he would rather not have the people in the car, so maybe he would do a DoorDash, Uber Eats, or whatever. And unknowingly to you, you had said, "Hey, listen, you don't have to do any of that. Your needs are going to still be taken care of. It may be a little tight, but if you don't want to work, you don't have to work." You still told him that as of like recently?
No, I told him that this bit before I left to come to Atlanta. Um, but I didn't know Tay had, while I was gone, she had actually put those apps and things on his phone so he could start make some money, which is a great idea because you just taking calls and driving around, you got a vehicle. And if he needed gas, he had, ways to put gas in the car. So it was actually a really good suggestion. Um, maybe he got upset about that because I'm thinking back and I didn't know that he and Taya had that discussion until she mentioned it online, what she had done. It wasn't discussed with me, and I didn't discuss with her that I told Rico he didn't have to work.
Yeah, and by recently, that's what I mean. Within the last couple of months or whenever it's been. So that's a big statement by itself. And also, I'm glad you brought up about, hey, you've said for I believe at least 3 months. I don't know how long it's been. The Facebook money hasn't been coming in for one reason or another. I know that all will be mentioned at a later time. And so bills have still been paid. I know there's, quite a, I know that there's expensive living where
Hey, all these legal fees, and we ain't not asking for no GoFundMes. We have
no,
our
baby. I can tell you,
Our savings is still growing,
I
but
done heard the legal
when
fees.
you have some money, you just don't want to touch certain money. So I'm like, I got a whole food kitchen. I know how to go get a bag. And I actually offered Rico, I'm like, Rico, me and you used to be out here. You can just come sit on the stool, help me wash some money and cashier. He told me he didn't want to come.
So you offered him, and I know this, but I'm just gonna ask for the check. So you offered him, I believe, a couple times to come to
Atlanta and work with me.
Atlanta and not be in Houston.
Of course I did.
Let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can scroll up and find. So okay,
Rico never supported my mission, whoever's asking. Um, he worked for me basically, if you want to put it like that. And then let me comment on one thing. For the ops that gave me 72 hours, y'all can't even walk in the same room to me with me. Y'all are trash. Y'all are scum on the bottom of my shoes. Y'all gave me 72 hours to do something with the IRS. Y'all can't give me, so do what you do.
okay, but there you heard it. The food in the refrigerator real quick because it's another simple thing to me, and it goes back to clearly he's been eating. Now I've never seen Rico cook. I never seen him cook a meal, so therefore I don't know why he would have a lot of things in his refrigerator. Now maybe he would have some sandwich meat or some little quick things he could put in a microwave. I don't know, but it's apparent. No, I'll say this: I have a witness with my own eyes because there was a situation where some bank accounts were
Oh,
um, some bank accounts were confused, and I witnessed with my own eyes daily meals from fast food on one of Chef's cards. So
well, you and Lena helped figure it out because the accounts were being confused, and we figured it out because we was trying to figure out why were all these charges coming out of my account. If and we got it figured out.
and we got to figure it out. And so I will say I do not know the specifics that Chef Enrico has had between you know him buying food or whatever. But from what I have heard, what Chef has said, he has the card. He can use the card to eat, and there's no like you can't eat, or there's
Yeah,
no none of that.
I'm not saying that Darnell that I'm not saying that Rico ever stole money or took money or abused the privileges. It was
Mhm.
just a miscommunication about one of my accounts. That was the problem.
No, oh, absolutely. Let's clear that up. It was
We're
a
not saying that he stole
miscommunication.
anything. So no, he did not. We're not saying that.
I'm glad you said that. It absolutely was not that. It was the confusion of accounts because Chef has multiple. Okay. And I'm sure Tay has multiple. Now, I'm not in Tay's business, but I'm in Chef's. Uh, got multiple. And so, there was some confusion about the account, and it was the wrong account that we were looking at. And that account that we were looking at, there were several Wendy's. There was like I can't remember. I don't want to lie. I know it was a Wendy's, and there
It
was some
doesn't
more
matter. But we
fast
figured
food
out
places.
who, and we talked to Rico, and we all agreed, and he was in the right accounts. At the end of the day, he was doing the right thing.
He was doing the right thing. And so I've seen this with my own eyes. Now, I can't help but to have a question mark, right? It's a question mark. It's not a period. It's definitely not an exclamation mark. So when things are not, after 30 something years, if things are not as fruitful as they used to be. And again, Chef explained, hey, there's all of these tens of $1,000s they pay to this attorney, which I have witnessed. And you want to be on guard because there's no money coming in for 3-4 months or whatever, and you want to be on guard for your spending, which is how you should be. And so I just have a question mark about, well, if there was a deficit, if there was not the money that it used to be, like, did you just say this ride is over, and now I'm gonna go.
Nope, I did not.
No, no,
Rico
no,
was.
not you. No, no,
He could have.
I'm
He
talking
could
about
have.
Rico. That
Oh,
question was for Rico. So is it like this ride is over as I have known it, and I want to find another ride? And again, this is a question mark that I have in my head because I don't have any answers coming from Rico. I'm open to, I'm sure whatever they're gonna do is gonna be, and I hope that whatever it can be no lies, but I don't have the full trust with them with that because I know several of them to be liars. So I will say I don't know. I have a lot of questions, but it's just funny now that there's been a somewhat of a shift that this is going on. And I can say as well, with just being fully transparent, there's been
yeah,
other people that have there's been other people that have looked out for Rico. I'll just leave it pretty general. There's been other people that have looked out for Rico. Lena says over $300 worth of food charges. So clearly we had access to eat whatever we wanted. He had access to eat whatever we wanted. I will say there's
but
other people that have looked out
Yeah,
for Rico as well.
yeah. Sharon Pullum says that me and Tay dress in designer clothes and eat at expensive restaurants. Sharon, Rico is a grown man. I would never thought about buying Rico Gucci or anything like that. He bought his own clothes. He go to Walmart or he go where we go. He get his own stuff. I'm not responsible for dressing him. He did not expect that. You guys that like Rico was our kid. He was not.
Okay, I don't see her comment, but thank you for acknowledging that. Chef, you got one positive comment to read. You got two. You got two positive comments to read before another negative one. Can we do that? Um, Two positive before another negative. So, okay. So I do know that in addition to you paying Rico, there was a period of time where Rico wasn't by himself. If I'm not mistaken, well, no, let me not say that. I know Rico was by it had his own place recently, but there was a period of time where he lived with you for whatever, quite a bit of time. So he was getting paid. You can correct me if I'm wrong. From my understanding, he was getting paid X amount of money and still didn't have to pay any bills.
Well, when we were in Atlanta before, I think Tay wants to come on, Darnell. But when we
Oh,
was in that,
I can put the stream out back.
when we were in Atlanta, and we decided to hire Rico over. Well, he was already with I Got You Seasonings, but when he was we had moved, and he was working at I Got You Seasonings. Um, you know, Rico got, he had over $3,000 a month in his pocket. He didn't have to pay one bill. I paid all the bills, the electric, the gas, the mortgage, the car insurance. So even before we came to Houston, Rico didn't have to pay any bills.